I'm Robert Russell. Last year I did a video about the pedal board I use to record the first 16 or so songs that I have out. And it did a great job. But as I was using it, I started to realize there was things I wanted to try and do differently. One of the things is the stereo effects I was getting, there wasn't a big enough difference. Another thing I wanted to try adding was the 4-cable system, but I guess if you're using stereo, that's the 5-cable system. Yeah, I wanted to see if I could add some more options, but use the space a little bit better. And I wanted to have easier access to all the cables and cords underneath. And this one, though I love, you basically have to take everything apart to get at the wires. So I'll show you how I've improved my board with my kind of pedal board 2.0. So remember, I'm not a guitar teacher or a gear engineer. Some of the things I do may or may not be good ideas, but I think they're fun or cool, and it's what I'm doing. I'm just telling you about it, so enjoy it for what it's worth. Think of me not as a teacher, but your weird neighbor. That's probably a better way to look at it. Okay, so kind of like before, start out with the atomic brain, then going into the Keeley limiting amplifier, tuner, then over here to a transparent overdrive pedal. This is actually a Timmy clone. I did actually buy a real Timmy to go in that spot, but when I got it, the person who sold it to me failed to mention that the switch was a little crunchy and crumbly. So by the time I got that fixed, the generic one was holding its place, and so far the generic one leaves a little bit more room here, and it is functioning fine. So that goes to an OCD just because I felt like I wanted to be able to be meatier if I needed to be. So that has been working quite well. From that into the Moore Red truck. This is a generic tube screamer. And then you can program that. If you want to find out more about that, watch their products, or you can watch my old pedal board video, because it's still kind of the same concept. Main difference is coming out of the effects send here, it goes to the back for the 4-cable system. So you can see here, this would send to the amp. So now I send that to a California Tweed, right into the face for the preamp, and then send that back to this board. So it returns to the pedal board. I go through the Keeley Memphis Sun, back to the return on the Moore Red truck, and then stereo effects begin. So I have the stereo delay, reverb, and tremolo here, tap. I have this Re-Echo Pro, also a tap delay. And then, like I said, I wanted a bigger difference in the stereo sounds, so I tried this, I'm gonna go ahead and say hippie pedal. The Immerse reverberator, and it is really cool. I'm getting like a big difference in washy, wet sounds. And then from there, I decided to try the Cathedral reverb this time, but the pedal is so loud looking that I made it into the Haunted Mansion instead of the Cathedral, but I've been using the stereo Acu Spring setting on that, and that goes to the 2 channels out to the back, and then to the right and left returns on the Mesa Boogie California Tweed amps. So you can see it got thinner than this board, but it got wider. But that seemed okay, because I could stand at a microphone and still reach over there with my foot without much of a problem. Like I said earlier, I wanted more access to the electronics, so I made this hinged so I could sort of easily open it up, get at everything that's inside, and then shut that back down pretty quick. It is a tight fit here with some of these pedals, but there it is. and I can lock it so it doesn't rattle around. So that makes just getting at the electronics a little bit easier to deal with. I actually chose this layered wood design because I was inspired by some cutting boards I had seen on Etsy. I was actually going to buy them from the guy that makes them there, but they were a little too high price, and the price of this pedal board would have spun out of control if I used them, but man, that would have been cool. Anyway, I tried to do my best with some scrap pieces of wood. Inside here, when I had to put the holes for the cables, it started to seem more like a birdhouse to me, which I didn't expect, but it's kind of fun. Back here you can see the hinges for cable access. 4 cable system plus stereo. So even though I know I'm supposed to wear gloves when I stain something, I get cocky and I don't, and then I just usually wash it off. It doesn't matter. This red, it's good stain. No matter how hard I scrub, you can see I'm all pruned up from scrubbing. I cannot get this off, so I'm going to have blood red hands for a couple days. Yay! So anyway, yeah, pedalboard 2.0. I feel like I've made some improvements. It sounds a little better. Check out some of my more recent releases to hear it with the twin California Tweed Mesa Boogie amps. And I'm Robert Russell, and this is my garage this time. Weird.